कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वर गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु महाविद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। Oh, sorry. Start again. Om asतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। Om शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। पूर्णमदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। Great. So we are doing the summary, right, for the first three and fourth chapter 10 shlokas. So we are already did the first chapter last week and we did part of second chapter, right? So we're going to continue from there. But before we go into Gita, recently a festival was there, right? We celebrated with everybody together. We went to did the puja and then sang some songs and then eat prasad. What was that festival? Ganesh Chaturthi, right? So let's quickly talk about that before we go into this. So Ganesh Chaturthi is what? Anybody can tell me? It is what day it is? Ganesh's birthday, right? And everybody knows the story about Ganesh Bhagwan. How did he get the elephant face? Okay, who will tell me that story? How did he get the elephant face?
His dad cut off his head.
Uh-huh.
And
Why?
they made it because he was like disrespecting Shiva Bhagwan.
Uh-huh.
And so they cut off his head. And then they were and then Parvati Mata got really mad at him and said to find like another head.
Uh-huh.
And then he got an elephant head.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And then they had to like attach it to him.
Okay. And then they had to and that's how he got the elephant head, right? That's in all our religious stories there is always a story, a different unique stories, and it was given because of that you can get attached to the God, right? It was just for you guys to pull it out to attach to God. But if you really think about it, can a father cut a son's head? And that also Shivji, who is known to be very merciful, like we say Bhola. Shivji's other name is Bhola. Bhola's earth is very easy God. That's the most easiest God. People say that if you want to worship Shivji. He will give you everything what you ask. So he is so easygoing and so merciful God. Can he cut his son's head? So it is a story that was given and it became popular, so we all hear those stories. But what is the real sense into that story, right? So let me tell you a story that will explain why we say Ganpati has an elephant face, right? So what happened is, when we say that Shivji came and then he did not know who Ganpati was and the boy was standing on the door, so Shivji cut the boy's head, and then then he got to know he's my son. When he got to know Parvati was crying, so one first animal that he got was elephant, and then he attached the face of elephant on his head. But think about it, if he has a power of attaching the elephant head, he will have a power of attaching his son's head to the body. Would he not have it? Right? So we talk about these as a story, like, to just give in, and it's a symbol. everything in Hindu religion, you will see there is a symbol, right? As we were talking about in Mahabharata, what we were saying, Duryodhana is a symbol of what? Evilness, right? Arjun on the other side is a symbol of what? Right? It's a symbol of righteous people, right? So every story in our religion has a symbol. So for Ganpati is a symbol of intelligence, right? When we, how we have different god and we can ask different traits from different god, like Lakshmi ji, what do we ask to Lakshmi ji? Give us money, right? That's the Lakshmi, right? So every god, for Saraswati we said God give us Vidya, right? Vidya means the knowledge, right? So Ganpati is for what? Intelligence, right? So for intelligence we ask Ganpati. Now Ganpati, why do we ask intelligence? It's a symbol of intelligence. Now why elephant face, right? Now the question comes, why did we picture him as an elephant face? Elephant is also symbolized as an intellect, right? So if you look at elephant, there are five things that elephant carries, that symbol of intelligence or symbol of something that is an intellect person. So if you look at his eyes of elephant are very tiny, right? Small eyes. He doesn't have big eyes. So small eyes is symbol of that he is very detailed. He can look very tiny stuff to the big stuff, right? In such a big body, those tiny eyes, what is it for? To look at the details, right? So as an intelligent person, what intelligent person do? They go in detail, right? So that's why the eyes of Ganeshi is so small and it represents elephant, right? Then the ears are so big, right? Why is the ears so big? Because ears are big to filter. That's the symbol of the intelligence. They just take the learning, good learning, and they don't take the bad learning. That's why it's a big ears, right, for elephant. The third thing is the trunk, right? So if you notice elephant, what elephant does it? Elephant always take a food. If the food is given to the elephant, he takes it from the trunk, he smash it on the floor, and then he eats it. He doesn't eat it right away. He smash everything on the floor and then he eats it. So what does that is? It is that he gives to everybody around him. He doesn't eat by himself. So he put it on the floor, he smash it so it's open up, everybody can eat it, the chunk of it, and then he eats it. So it's a giving thing that he is representing, right? Then he has tongue. He has what? The tusk. So he has two tusks, right? One, if you look at it, one is small and one is big, right? One is all long and one is a small tusk. So the small tusk is an intellect, symbol of intellect, right? The long tusk is symbol of faith. So those are the 5 things that elephant has, and that's what we represent as a Ganpati. That because Ganpati has all those 5 things, and we can pray Ganpati for intelligence to give us intellect. That's why Ganpati symbol is an elephant, right? It's not that his father cut his face. The real thing is that he is a symbol of an intelligence to like. And you remember what did we learn about Gita who wrote Gita? Vedyas was singing Gita. Who wrote it? Who was writing Gita? Because it's a combination of 2. He couldn't write and sing both together. So Vedyas was singing or saying Gita, and who was writing Gita? Ganpati. Ganpati was writing Gita, right? So Ganpati wrote Gita, but Ganpati was very smart, right? As we know that he is a symbol of an intellect. So Ganpati said, you remember the story I told you, but I will rewind it one more time. It's a very funny story. I don't know if it's just a story or it's a reality. So Vedvyas went to Ganpati and say, hey, I want to write this. Can you help me write it? And as he is symbol of the most intelligent person, so he will go. Vedvyas went to him, and Ganpati says, yeah, I will write it, but I have one wish that you have to follow. And Vedvyas said, what is that wish? Ganpati says, I will not stop writing. You have to keep saying, and I will keep writing, right? If you stop, and I have to stop writing, then I will not write. I will not start again. If I have to put my pen down, then I will not pick a pen and start writing. Now, sage Vedvyas says, okay, that's fine, I will try. But Vedvyas, as an old sage, he started singing, and he has to take a breath in the middle. So you remember the slok 16 when I was talking about that, when slok 16, some of the sloks in the Gita, what is it? We cannot understand. It takes time to understand, right? Why is he saying that the real is always existent, non-real is not existent? So why does these sloks come in the middle that has a very different meaning, very difficult meaning to take it up? So Vedvyas, somewhere when he has to take a breath, he used to give a difficult slok. So Vedvyas in return said to Ganpati that, okay, I will sing all the time and you will write, but you have to understand it too, right? So what happened is, whenever he has to take a break, he puts down these kind of shloks in the middle, which is very difficult to understand, and Ganpati takes 5 minutes to understand that. At that time, Vedvyas take a deep breath and take a rest, take a break, and then start singing again, right? So that's the story. But coming to Ganpati, so Ganpati is not because of some, that, he just formed the elephant face, that's why he is an elephant. It's a symbol of intelligence. That's why his face is, made up of elephant face, right? So he's a god of, what would you ask if Ganpati is there? What would you pray to him?
Give me knowledge.
Give me buddhi, give me intelligence, right? So that's how give me knowledge. So that's what you pray to Ganpati when that is, right? Good? Okay. Let's go back to where we were. Okay. So we were doing chapter 2 and slok 16. That's where we were, right? So by this time, God already gave the knowledge about who are you, right? So we are in the, so first one was Arjuna as a disciple. Second point was what I am, right? That's what we were discussing. So God says that, hey, you know what? That all the things that are real are always existence, right? Non-real things come in existence and go away from existence, right? They are non-manifested, they are manifested, and then they go back in non-manifested. Those are not unreal things. So unreal things are what? Non-existent. So what are they? Everything that is around us, right? That's not unreal, right? We talk about mithya. So like our body, mind, intellect is unreal, right? Then what is this house? Unreal. What is that tree? Unreal, right? What is what do you say, like what is this whole entire world? Unreal, right? So that's why it says Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. When you go to your parents tonight, ask them, what does Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya means? Okay? And then when they say something, then you will say, no, it means this, right? So you will tell them the meaning. Everybody go home and tell the meaning. First ask them and then tell the meaning. For what? Brahma Satya. Satya means true, right? Brahma is true. Brahma Satya. Jagat. Jagat means the world, right? Mithya means false, right? Unreal. So that's the whole thing that I explained you last week, right? Brahma Satya and Jagat Mithya. So by now, God says that Brahma is the only real thing and everything else is appearance, right? Is false, is unreal. So we also have to think that Brahma is Satya, right? Now, we need to talk about that. You remember a story about the wave story, right? So what was it? Can anybody tell me? Yeah.
So there was a small wave, and you were talking about how the wave doesn't lose its, like, the soul stays, but it's a different person.
True. How it goes. So there was a little, to remind you guys. So there was a little wave, right? Small wave was born. And small wave was thinking, oh my God, I'm so pretty, so good, having a good life here. And then she started growing up bigger and bigger, little bit, and she went to school and she saw, oh my God, there are big waves too. there are mean waves too. There are, like, there are friends waves too. There are other girls or other boys, there are friends, so the waves become friends to other people. But there were other people that were really mean to her, and she said, oh my god, there are so many mean people, mean waves here in this ocean. And then it kept going, and then somebody says, you know what, the shore is coming, we all will die, right? So wave get to know that, oh my god, I'm gonna go die now. So she was very scared, and she said, oh my god, I'm gonna die in why did I even got birth? Now I'm gonna die in few minutes, and the shore is coming. And while it was going there to the shore, there was a Vedant class going on, a Gita class was going on. So Wave says, okay, let me go and check what is happening in this class, right? So she went and saw, so what they were teaching that wave is what? What is the wave? Wave is the water, right? Every wave is water. What is the substance of the wave? It's made up of water, right? So every wave is water. There is nothing other than water, right? So then she get to know that everything is water. Nothing is different than water, right? Big wave is a water too. Small wave is a water too. Raindrop is a water too. The bubble is a water too. Everything is water, right? So then they got to know why to get scared, because even if you die at the shore, what's going to happen? Either you're going to become a bubble, either you're going to become again a little wave, or you're going to become a big wave, or you're going to become a water vapor, or you become a water drop, right? So what's going to change? Nothing, just a form going to change. Form of your going to change, but you will still remain water, right? So she got to know that, and then she was happy that, okay, it's nothing, I'm not changing. The water inside me, which makes me, is not changing. What is it changing? My form will change. That's about it, right? So I'm gonna just become a new form, and it will be just a new form of me, but basically I'm water. So then what happened is, there was no mean wave, there was no big wave, there was no small wave. She started thinking all waves are water, right? So that's what Krishna Bhagavan told us here, that what happened is the body goes away, right? The body goes away at the end of our birth and death cycle, and then it takes the new body and it's move on. So we never die, the body dies, right? So he says in next couple shloks, that it's like a changing the cloth, right? As we change the cloth, all the torn clothes, we throw it away, or all the bad clothes that we are wearing right now, we put it in washing, we wear a new clothes. The same way, consciousness, Atma, wears the new clothes and move on after the body is dead, right? So that's how it goes. Then he mentioned that, again, you're describing our real self, right? Our real self. What is he saying? That it's not, the fire cannot burn our real self, right? We think that we can be burned by fire. No. What can burn by fire? Our body can burn by fire, but we cannot be burned by fire, because what are we? We are our real self is our soul, our Atma. So that cannot be burned, right? Can it be cut by the sword? So Krishna Bhagavan said it cannot be cut by the sword. Can it be wet by the water? It cannot be wet by the water. Can it be dry by the air? It cannot be dry by the air. So the soul cannot be dry, cannot be burned, cannot be cut, cannot be, it's like, so earth, water, air, fire and space. These are the 5 elements that our whole world is made up of, right? And nothing of these 5 can impact the soul. So soul is never going to be impacted by anything, right? Krish? Anything problem?
Nothing, never.
Any question you can share with all of us. Don't do by yourself. Don't get scared of the bug.
No,
It's only made up of those 5 elements. There is nothing else. Right? So don't worry about that bug. Okay, so that's what Krishna Bhagavan says. Now Krishna Bhagavan also mentioned in chapter 2 that the soul, that's our real self, is not the doer of the action. So they don't do any action. The soul doesn't do action, right? So who does these actions? All the actions that we do, our body does it, right? Our body, mind and intellect does it. Soul doesn't do the action. Now think about the example of petrol and car, right? Without petrol, car cannot move, right? But can petrol decide where to go? Can petrol decide, let me run the car? No. Can petrol decide that, oh, this driver is good and this driver is not good? Petrol doesn't do anything, right? Who does it? The driver or the car does it, right? Whoever is sitting in the car, who does it? But petrol doesn't do it. The same way, the consciousness in our body doesn't do anything. It just give the light of consciousness in our body that can help us move, do work. Everything is done by in consciousness, but actions are never done by the consciousness. So our real self is not the doer of the action, right? So, and now we're going to talk about how the action is done, because we're going to do karma yoga, right? Karma means action. So we're going to talk about that. But that's what it says in next slok, right? So now he also mentioned that eventually now he told everything about what we are, right? By now he told Arjun that we are not this, not that. We are the consciousness of our real self, right? Now, you know how Arjun would have heard, I'm just picturing him. When somebody tells you that, you know, the first class when I told you this thing, everybody was looking at me like what I'm talking about, right? The expression of you. Now you know that, right? So you are not that surprised. But think about it, the first time you heard that this body is not you, right? What happened? You dropped the jaw, right? The Arjun was dropped the jaw looking at Krishna Bhagavan like, what is he talking, right? He did not understand anything. So when he did not understand, Krishna wo bandh hone wala raja. So can you hit okay on that?
Yeah.
So then Arjun, Krishna Bhagavan saw that he is looking at him like dropped jaw and looking at him like he doesn't, what is Krishna Bhagavan talking at? So to just calm him down, just to give him the answer to his expression, Krishna Bhagavan says, okay, forget about what you are. Okay? Even if you are this body and you die and you born, if you go in the birth and death cycle, even if you think you are that, don't grieve. Right? Don't grieve, because birth and death is inevitable. It's going to happen. So don't grieve. Right? So he brought him back after giving the lesson of who you are. He brought him back to the reality right now, what he is facing, and then he's going to talk more about what he should be doing. But right now, this is the junction, like I think 30th or 31st slok. He closed this chapter down saying what we are. He gave all the essence of what he wants him to know. And then he says, even if you think you are body, even if you think you are this mind, even if you think you are this person, don't grieve about living or dying people, because it is inevitable. It's no control on it. It's going to happen. Yeah, Raja. Yeah, sure. So at 30-31, he finishes this topic. Now next topic, what it comes, it's the practice of spiritual practices, right? That's the third topic in chapter 2. So now the third topic in chapter 2 starts. So now on this, the first word he introduced to to Arjun is Swadharma. So what kind of action you should be doing? He said Swadharma. What does Swadharma means?
Your action.
Swadharma is your actions. I think not action, duty.
Dharma.
Duty, your duty.
That's fine.
Your duty, Swadharma, right? Now, in the olden days, Swadharma was explained very well. Like it was given where it was so structured in Hindu society that it was very easy to follow. How? Because of Varna. Varna was given, right? And the stage of life. There were 2 tables given. One was which Varna you belong to and which stage of life you are in. You remember those 4 varna and 4 life stages? Right? Okay, what were the 4 varnas?
Brahma.
जोर से बोलना.
Brahma.
Brahman.
Brahman. Yeah, that's right.
Brahma nahi, Brahman. Don't get confused.
I got it.
Ah.
And then Kshatriya
Kshatriya,
and Vaishya
Vaishya,
and Sudra.
and Shudra. Right? So 4 varnas were given. And then what were the 4 life stages of life?
Brahmacharya.
Brahmacharya.
Stages of life.
Yeah, stages of life.
Over here. Oh yeah, and then
Grihastha ashram, got it. Vanprasthashram
and sannyashram.
and sannyasram. Yeah. So depending on these 4 and 4, you make it combination and then decide what is your duty. That was given straightforward at that time. Like we are talking about 5,000 years ago, right? So if you are brahmacharya, like your student, and you are Brahmin, right? You need to study Shastra. You need to study Vedas. That's what your duty was. If you are Brahmacharya and you are Vaishya, then you need to make sure that you understand the business, the business part of the world, or you need to make sure that you do the trades and stuff like that. So that's what you need to gain knowledge on this. If you're Kshatriya and you're Brahmacharya like you guys, then you need to learn how to use the weapons and everything, right? So that was on that age. But now in recent thing, we need to change a little bit on this, right? The stages of life and the varna of life doesn't depend on which varna you are born on or which stage are you in, right? You can study Gita right now too. You don't have to wait till you go in one sastram and then learn Gita. That's not what it is. You need to learn Gita right now, right? So right now, if we look at it, what is your duty? So we have to rephrase it. What is your duty means? The first thing, instead of varna, you need to think about what are you good at? Varna is depending on what are you good at, what is your stronger side, right? Then next thing is if it is stages of life, that doesn't matter what stage are you in, but you still need to understand that what the goal is, right? The goal is. So we can just switch this little bit and I explain it. So what are you good at? I'm really, really good at math, right? Or studies. Let's go deep into study. Okay, I'm really good at dancing, Let me become a dancer, right? I'm really good at singing. Let me become a singer, right? Let me learn the singing thing, right? Or I'm really, really good at businesses. Let me study business, right? Let me get all the knowledge. What you have to do when you are a student, you need to earn knowledge. That's what your job is. That's what your duty is, right? Get the knowledge. You are at the stage where your duty is get the knowledge. So Krishna Bhagavan is saying that everybody should be doing their swadharma. Swadharma means what is your own duty, you should be doing that, right? In next few slokas, Krishna Bhagavan only Krishu. You're writing the whole thing. Okay.
I want Swadharma and Varna.
Varna.
Yeah, it's what you're good at.
Okay, I'm not just writing it all the things. I speak and you write too. It's not only on board that you write. Okay, so that's what. So Krishna Bhagavan said few slokas about the morality, right? What should be a moral person gonna be doing? Like, it's not spirituality, it's morality. Like, how you should be doing things. You should follow your swadharma. Then he talks about varna and the stages of life and stuff like that. Now, after saying that, after finishing these topic, he connects it to karma yoga, right? So now it comes where he's talking about spiritual practices. So he explained it. First of all, he explained who you are. Then he explained you should be doing your swadharma, your own duty. You should be doing that. Now he is explaining how should you do it, right? So now comes how. So it comes a Karma Yoga. Okay. So karma means action, right? So remember that part, and then we'll start. Now, what happens is, before we start karma, let's divide it and figure it out how to understand this, right? So karma is action. Now, let's say that if we think that this birth and death cycle that's happening in our life, that's the real thing, right? Let's take it and think about it. Let's not think about that we are the soul, but how does this birth and death happens? Why do we come in this world? Why do we leave? What happens? Why my life goes this way? how are my parents being picked? Like, why did I only come in this house? Why I have these sisters? I'm good at this thing? Why all these things happen, right? That question comes because to get to the Karma Yoga, you need to understand the karma too, right? The karma part. So we can understand how the things work in this world. So what happened is, it is all based on your past karma, right? So everything comes with your past karma. Now there are 3 kind of karmas. What are those? Anybody remember?
There's 3 types of
Karmas. Agami. Agami. Anybody can figure it out?
Agami's future, right?
Yeah. Okay, I will write.
I can figure it
Sanchit karma.
out, which is
That's an accumulated karma.
past, right? Prarabdha is present.
Prarabdha. And then Agami. I will just explain a little bit so we know, like, you know how in these shloks, Krishna Bhagavan, hey, ye band ho gaya Raja. I didn't
What?
even realize.
Oh.
Can you start it?
Yeah.
वो कर देना राजा. Oh.
And
And अपने आप
there's only one person.
Yeah, just add कर. So what happens is, all our past lives, right? They are all comes into Sanchit karma, right? So I gave, if you remember, I gave an example of bow sitting in its case. You know the bows, the arrow, sorry. Thank you, Shadow. I tried to make look like a. Did it look like the arrow?
No.
No? Okay, arrow. So think about it, that every janma has some arrows, right? The karmas. So our last to last, how many janma we took it so far, how many births we took it, that many arrows are sitting in a basket, right? Now, when we are ready to born again with taking a new body, right? We left the old body, now we are getting the new body. So what happens is, out of these bows, one bow is taken out and shoot. Think about that. So it has all the karmas that we did in previous lives. Now this is mix of all the life. It is not that, oh, the 10th life is there and then 10th life is coming here. That's not how it works, right? So whichever bow comes in the hand, God shoots that bow and it goes and it comes as a prarabdha karma, and we are born, right? So we are born with prarabdha karma out of this sanchit karma. So it is all our past karma gave us the prarabdha karma for this life, right? Now this life, everything is decided, right? How you are born, what you're gonna be, when you're gonna die, what disease you're gonna have, what are you gonna be doing, everything is decided on this scale, right? Nobody is coming and deciding, oh, who will be your parents, who will be, how much money you're gonna be earning. Everything is decided in prarabdha karma, right? And then what karma you are doing now, right now, like if tomorrow I'm going to do something, day after tomorrow I'm doing something, day after tomorrow I'm doing something, that are agami karma, because I'm doing it now. In the future I'm going to be doing, right? So these are different kind of karma that, depending on all these karmas, that's how our birth and death goes, right? So now what happened is, with like, let's say there are saint people, right? So they had sanchit karma, they were born with prarabdha karma, now they went to the spiritual path, right? They are very high level of spiritual path, they went there, right? They're still doing their agami karma, right? Where does the karma ends? Where would the people get enlightened? Enlightened means then they don't get born and go in the cycle of birth and death again and again, right? So where does the karma ends? Because you keep doing agami karma. Until you don't die, you're doing the karma, right? Your body is there. Until body is there, mind is there, you're going to do karma. Your soul doesn't do karma, but who does the karmas? The body does the karmas, right? So you're going to keep doing the karma. So as far as there is a karma, then you will have to take the birth again, right? Because the karma is there. So how does, for a saint person who is enlightened, how does their birth and death cycle stops, right? So the question comes like that. They have prarabdha karma, they are born, let's say the saint person is born here, they got enlightened here, and their life is still going on, right? Until they die. Because they are in this body, the life will keep going and they die. So what happens between this and this? Where does the karma goes here? They are still doing agami karmas, right? So what happens is, they say that they do agami karma, but their karma is nullified and goes to people that are around there. The result of karmas go to other people who are around it. So their karma stops right here. Their karma doesn't register anymore. They don't go in the sanchit karma, right? They doesn't go in this arrow basket. And then after die, they don't come back as a born and die cycle, right? So that's what happened with the enlightened people. But all us are going to go through these again and again. We die, then we get born again, because there are so many arrows and bows in this basket. They're going to keep coming. And we're going to keep taking the body depending on what karma we do. So with this transactional world, the worldly thing, when we think about it, these are the karmas that's going to result in what you're going to be, where you're going to be, how you're going to be born, how are you going to be doing. So we have to make sure that our karmas are right. Right? So that's important thing. If we only want to do the transactional world, we don't think about the spiritual world, forget about spiritual world. We want to live a good life, then we have to pay attention to what karma we are doing, right? Are we doing a good karma? Then good, right? Good gives good result. If we are doing bad karmas, then bad karmas will give us bad results, right? Then what's going to happen is, probably you are happy right now doing bad karma. Oh, I'm teasing this other girl that sit next to me, and I'm really mean to that girl, and I'm really mean to this guy. I can be that, I can do that karma, and I have fun, I have that happiness of doing that, right? But what's going to happen is, they're going to register here. Now what's going to happen is, next birth you're going to get, or probably later on in your life, somebody will tease you so much, right? And you will cry. That's going to happen, right? If you do bad, it's going to happen. So Vivekananda Swami said, good, bad, none escape the chain of karma. Karma, if you are the chain, the karma is a chain. Chain means a rope kind of thing, right? The chain that, so none escape the chain of karma. Nobody can escape it. If you do good, good will happen. If you do bad, bad will happen. It's going to happen no matter what, right? It might happen in this life, it might happen in the fifth life from now, but it will happen, right? So we need to make sure that we pay attention to karma, right? So that's the part of action that we need to think about it as a moral person, right? Now let's go as a spiritual, how we should be doing a good karma, or how can we do, how can we change all our action into a spiritual action? So that's the karma yoga. So karma yoga, if you look at it, the meaning of karma yoga is how to change your all the actions to spiritual action, right? Change the attitude of actions to spiritual. That's the karma yoga, right? How can we change our actions to the spiritual actions, right? What time we have to do? It's still have time, right? Yeah, okay. So now Krishna Bhagavan comes to this thing where it says, I want to go, okay. So now two things we understand. One is, so if I divide the reality has two levels. We study about two levels of reality. So if I say who you are, right? So what did we figure out, that what is the higher level of reality? Is consciousness and soul, right? What you are? You are consciousness, right? So when we say you are consciousness, that's an absolute reality. Right? That you are the consciousness, that's the highest reality, right? There is no reality beyond that, because that's the reality that you get to know, right? Now, if we come to the body, mind and intellect, then what is the reality? That is transactional. That's the transactional reality, right? In that we can see this body, mind and intellect and everything, right? So higher reality is absolute, lower reality is transactional. From going from here to here, you need spirituality, right? So if you go from here to here, that's the path, is known as spirituality. Now when we talk about transactional reality, we put small I towards it, right? That is, I means I'm talking about my body, mind and intellect, a small I, right? When we talk about absolute reality, we say capital I, right? That's an absolute reality, like means I'm talking about I as a capital I is a
Like
soul and consciousness, right? So big I is our soul, absolute reality. Small I is transactional reality, that is body, mind and intellect, right? So now when we talk about this, that is, so if we say that, Sonal aunty, you keep on talking about two different things. How can we how can we live in this life, right? How can we live in this life with having absolute reality and transactional? We cannot avoid saying that I have this body too, right? Can we say, no, I'm only soul and I'm going to just sit here and not move? That's going to not happen, right? That you cannot do it. So how can we have both the reality, how we should interchange the reality, and how can we live in this life? That's what's most important thing. Yes, yeah.
What does the lowercase I mean?
Lowercase I means transactional reality. That's our body, mind and intellect is lowercase. Actually, they talk about this as a 5 element: body, mind, intellect, memory, and ego. Right? They put 5 in there. I just short form is body, mind, and intellect, which you understand better. Are you cold, Raja? Beta pankha band kar. And then the capital I is consciousness and soul. Consciousness, soul, atma, you can say anything. Okay? So that's how we do it, 2 different ways, right? So now what Karma Yoga teaches us? Karma Yoga teaches us that by knowing what we are real self, right? How do you take action in transactional world? That's Karma Yoga, right? What action you should, by knowing this. If you don't know your reality and you try to do Karma Yoga, you would not be able to do it. That's why Krishna Bhagavan explained who you are first and then talk about Karma Yoga. Otherwise, he could have said Karma Yoga because it's very easy to define Karma Yoga, to explain Karma Yoga, but it's very hard to do it. It's very hard to do it. You need to know your absolute reality that you are a consciousness. When you get that understanding, then only you can do Karma Yoga. That's the only way. So how are these 2 worlds related? They are related by knowing this, then you take action in this world, then you can become spiritual and you can get the freedom. The freedom is what we are looking at, is everlasting happiness. That's what we are looking, right? The happiness that never ends. So that happiness can only come when we understand what we are, and then we do all these action in the world with our body, mind, and intellect, right? So that's how it's gonna go. Now let's read couple of the shloks that that are very good of Karma Yoga in this chapter 3. So how slok number 16 was essence of what you are in chapter 2, like, right? Same as slok number 47 is the essence of Karma Yoga, right? So when God was explaining Karma Yoga to what action you should be taking, slok number 47 was the essence of the whole chapter, right? You all open slok 47 and we will read it together. Chapter 2, slok 47.
Sean said he wants to lead.
Huh? What?
Sean said he wants to lead.
Oh, yeah, you can read it. Okay, everybody open chapter 2, slok 47. What is the page number, Raja?
109.
109 page number. You got it? Okay.
Wait.
Okay, let's sing all together. Come on, that's okay. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phal heturбhu ma te sangasta karmani. Very nice slok. And in India, if anybody had read Gita or not, they know this slok. One slok, if they memorize, it's going to be this slok that they have memorized it. Okay, so this is very important slok, and this gives the whole summary of Karma Yoga, right? A very good action material stuff that we should be remembering every single time. Even if you study Gita or not, you should be memorizing these slok, right? So what are these things? What did God say in this? So God says 4 things in this one slok, right? There are always 4 half of the sloks, right? One slok of first part, second part, third part, fourth part. In this slok, God says 4 things, right? So I know that I took so long class to explain this. I think we repeated this slok like at least 2 or 3 classes. So you should be knowing when I start saying it, all the 4 points. So the first point was, you can do
Action.
You can do action, right? Action is in your control. So you can do action. Action is in your control. What is the second point?
You don't
The
do
fruits are
action.
not in your control.
Yeah, the result of actions
is not in
are not in your control. So results of your actions are not in your control. Okay, what is the third?
Do not do action thinking of results.
Yes, do not do action. Do not do action thinking about the results. What is the fourth thing?
Do not give up actions thinking of results.
Do not give up action thinking the. Do not
That you don't have control.
give action thinking about the results. Yeah. So these are the four biggest essence of your karma yoga. Wherever you go, whatever action you take, this is one thing that you should be remembering, right? How many times did I tell this shlok to Sean? How many times?
What?
How many
yeah,
times
yeah,
I
yeah,
say
yeah.
this? I think every week or every day I tell him this. When he goes and play basketball, I always tell him, action is in your control, the results are not in your control. When he gets upset, when he doesn't win the game, he gets upset, I always tell, you do action. Action you have to do 100%, right? Because that's what you are, right? But results are never in your control. So don't think about the results to come. And when you think about action, when you think about results, you're always going to mess up. Because your focus will be result, not the action. You can only, our body is made very multitasking, multi-talented, but you can only think one thing at a time. You are never multitasking. Your thoughts go so fast changing, but at one time you only can think one thought. It's not too many thoughts you can think together, right? So if you think about result, you are not thinking about the action, right? Because your whole focus is on the result. So when you do not take action thinking about the result, don't do any action that you have to, oh okay, I'm going to do really good to this girl so that tomorrow when she gets the candy, she's going to give it to me too. That's not the action. That is you are focusing on the result, right? Or you know what, I'm going to be very nice to her or him because he's going to share his homework with me. No, that's again when you are thinking about the result, not about the true friendship, right? So never do that. Don't give action thinking about the result. Don't, okay, so result is not in my hand, I cannot do anything, then why should I even do action, right? Teacher will pass me or fail me, it's on her, why should I even write the paper, right? That could happen. And this is a smaller example, but bigger example in the life, it happens when you grow up. You will think, right, it's nothing in my hand, why should I even do it, leave it, forget it, I don't want to do it, when result is not made. So that tendency can come easily. So but God is so smart, he put all these four things together in one shlok. And he said what? He already know that these are human tendency that's going to come to you. So you have to fight against it, right? So this, even if you don't remember anything out of Gita, you should remember this thing. Because this is the most important thing. Because I know that it's very hard to always think, oh, we are consciousness, we are conscious, we are not this body, mind and intellect. That's very hard, very, very hard. But while we are in this body, while we are thinking that we are this person, what can we do? We can do this to make ourselves happy and get everlasting happiness, right? So what is in your control?
Action.
What is not in your control?
Results.
Why you should not stop doing action?
Because you don't know the result.
Yeah, but the action is important, right? So you will not stop doing action. And why? Do not do action thinking about the results, right? So those are the 4 things. Even if you don't remember anything, write these 4 things on your wall of your bedroom or somewhere, so you can memorize it and say, okay, this is the Karma Yoga, right? So God gave this, and then next slok, he just clarifies something. He said, let's read the slok 48 too. I will finish this here in 1 second. So let's read the 48 and then we will be done. Okay, come on, together. Slok number 48, chapter 2. Ready? Open? Okay. Come on. Yogastha kuru karmani sangatvatva dhananjaya siddhyaya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. So what he says, perform the action, right? So he's saying nobody should not do action, right? You should be doing, perform the action, give up the attachment of the result. The attachment that we have out of the result, give that up, right? Now I will say that I will study hard because I want to get 100 score in my exam, right? So what do we have in this statement? What does it shows? That we are attached to the result, the 100 points. Now if I make this focus that, hey, I'm going to study hard so I can understand everything, right? 100 points will come by itself. It's a byproduct of it. You don't have to focus on then I will get 100 points. That's what my goal is. What the goal is, that I learn and I understand everything about this subject, right? If I'm studying a math calculus, then I need to know everything about calculus, not that I want to go get grade 100. That's why I'm studying. When that becomes, the actions loses its strength, its focus in it, right? So the action should be that only that I want to learn so good out of this that it is 100% that I can get out of the learning, not the result, right? You got it? So what he's saying, that perform the action without the attachment to the result, right? As I grow up, I would say, okay, when I grow up, my goal is to become a doctor, right? That becomes attachment to the result of your goal, that I want to be a doctor. When you think about a bigger goal, what would you say? I want to do something in the life that I'm gonna help others, serve others. Then it becomes a spiritual goal, as well as it becomes action focused goal, not result focused goal, right? You understand? So God is saying, perform the action, don't get attached to the result, and then unconcerned about the result, that he says. And what it gives, eventually the mind that performed that action is yoga. How he defined yoga. So when I say karma yoga, so karma is action and yoga is, he defined yoga when you are not attached to the result and you are doing karma, then that mind is doing yoga, right? You understand? The action is now yoga. Yoga means not just the physical yoga that we do, it's a yoga of mind, right? So that is defined as yoga. That's how he explained. So now karma yoga, that's how he explained. So we're going to revise really quickly these 4 points and how we should be doing karma, and then we will move on to the, probably we did not finish summary today also. So one more class for summary, and then you guys all summarize everything according to you. Okay? So one more time. So what is it? Your action is in your control. What is the second point?
Result of action is not in your control.
Result of action is not in your control. Third point?
Do not do action thinking about the result.
Do not do action thinking about the result. What is the fourth point?
Do not give up action thinking about the result.
Yeah, do not give up action thinking about your control is not on the result. Good? Okay, awesome. Let's close it. Krishna sorry. Vasudeva Sukam Devam कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वर गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. Krishnarpanamastu. Thank you guys. Thank you for coming.